The son of the King of Malaysia, Abdul Jalil, died at the age of 25. It was a great sorrow, not only for the royal family. He was incredibly loved by his subjects and was the hope of the nation. The prince's passing was unexpected for many. Why was this fate so tragic, and what led to his death? Watch the video to the end to find out. Let's get started. The Sultanate of Johor is one of the wealthiest states in Malaysia. The local kings once held the title of emperor, and the ruling dynasty has been in charge for several centuries. In January 2024, the head of the Johor royal family was elected King of Malaysia. Sultan Ibrahim is considered one of the richest men in the country with an estimated fortune of $5.7 billion. He has one daughter and 5 sons, one of whom will forever be remembered by Malaysians as the people's king of souls. In July 1990, a son was born to this royal family. His name was Abdul Jalil, which means servant of the Almighty in Arabic. His father and mother had great hopes for him and loved him very much. They hoped that in the foreseeable future, their son would become a pillar of the state for the good of the people and the welfare of the kingdom. Still, children of noble and wealthy parents do not always live up to expectations. Many are dazzled by high status and become spendthrifts. Prince Abdul Jalil proved that the son of a king needn't be an arrogant egoist. In fact, his entire short life turned out to be devoted to the development and help of the people. His subjects had sincere respect for him and considered him an almost perfect prince. After graduating from secondary and then high school, Abdul Jalil became interested in zoology. For a year, he worked as a simple caretaker in the reptile section of the Singapore Zoo. The prince was so fascinated by the study of animal life that he decided to continue his education at the Zoological Society of London. After 2 years of study in Great Britain, the prince received a diploma with honors and returned to his homeland. As the Sultan's son, Abdul Jalil was offered a position in the state administration, but he stayed true to his calling. He studied zoology at the Orangutan Rehabilitation Center in the Kabul Sepalak Forest Reserve. As he grew up, the prince realized that it was not only animals that needed protection, but people as well. Abdul Jalil actively supported the Malaysian Red Crescent Society and a number of medical charities. Thanks to his royal lineage, he was able to raise considerable sums of money and ensure that the funds reached the people who needed help. When the prince turned 21, he shocked his relatives by making a drastic change in his life. Abdul Jalil decided to become a police officer to protect people. The man enrolled in the Royal Malaysian Police Training Center, and after a year, received the rank of inspector and a position in the police department. The prince enjoyed serving in the police so much that a few months later, Abdul Jalil began training with the Special Actions Unit, an elite unit of the Malaysian Special Forces. At the age of 23, he passed the rigorous tests and joined the anti-terrorist unit. This made him the only member of the royal family to serve in the police special forces, of course. The prince's life was not limited to service. From the age of about 20, Abdul Jalil was passionate about sailing. He did not recognize luxury yachts, preferring to manage small sailboats on his own. His goal was to attract young people to sailing to this end. He launched 2 mass programs that enabled more than 5,000 of his non-rich compatriots to learn to sail and participate in competitions. At the age of 23, Abdul Jalil launched Lael Lair Malaysia, a series of sailing regattas with cash prizes. The regattas sparked a boom in interest in sailing and identified a number of talented athletes. They went on to win prestigious international races and train young sailors themselves, a defender of nature, a brilliant athlete, and a tough special forces officer. All this was combined in the smiling prince, whom the subjects called the people's king of souls. A brilliant future was predicted for him. But all his achievements and hopes were shattered by a terrible diagnosis: Grade 4 liver cancer. It came to light in late 2014 when the prince was just over 24 years old. In the early stages, the disease was almost asymptomatic, but then Abdul Jalil began to lose weight, experience swelling and pain. Despite this, he continued to work every day at the Malaysian Red Crescent Society at the time. He was the vice president of the charity. The news of the terrible diagnosis coincided with the worst flooding in Malaysia. Uniquely heavy monsoon rains caused rivers to overflow, inundating tens of thousands of homes. Approximately 200,000 people have been relocated from the disaster area, each in need of assistance. Even in great pain and knowing that he was terminally ill, Abdul Jalil worked at his post. Thanks to the Red Crescent, the number of casualties was reduced and as many people as possible were saved. The colossal effort finally undermined the prince's health. His father, Sultan Ibrahim, sent his son to the hospital, almost by force, of course. The prince was treated by the best doctors in Malaysia and then in China. The last chance of salvation was a liver transplant. It was successfully performed at the Sun Yat-sen University in Guangdong, China. Unfortunately, it gave Abdul Jalil only a short reprieve. For the last 6 months of his life, the prince knew he was doomed and received only supportive treatment. Incredibly, even in the hospital, he remained a badass and even pranked the nurses. The video of the prince jokingly trying to hide from procedures and laughing at the nurse went viral, amused viewers, but rather made them admire the strength of spirit of this bright man. In early December 2015, 25-year-old Abdul Jalil was gone. Oncology killed the prince, and Malaysia was plunged into mourning. Tens of thousands of men and women streamed to the royal palace to say goodbye to the prince. A police cap and sword lay on Abdul Jalil's coffin, symbolizing that he had given his all to protect ordinary people. After the prayers, the prince was buried at the Mutia Royal Melem, and his father, Sultan Ibrahim, vowed to help all Malaysians with cancer. The monarch has honorably fulfilled his promise. The best cancer center in Southeast Asia was built in the state capital, Johor Bahru, was named Tunku Laksamana Johor in honor of the prince. The word Laksamana means admiral in Malay, which is what members of the royal family jokingly called Abdul Jalil. The center's motto is, "Fight like Jalil," each year. This state-of-the-art clinic treats about 7,000 Malaysians with cancer. For some, the doctors are saving lives. None of this would have been possible if Abdul Jalil had not inspired his father to build a cancer center even after his death. The prince continues to save people, and there is something symbolic about that. We know many examples of aristocratic descendants who fill their lives with debauchery, alcohol, and useless luxury. Having lived empty lives, they left no good memories or useful legacy. Fortunately, the stories of people like Prince Abdul Jalil stand out against the backdrop of such fates. In a very short life, he managed to do a lot of good for his subjects. That's why he will forever be remembered by Malaysians as the people's king of souls. What do you think about this sad story? Share in the comments, subscribe to our channel, and give us a like if you enjoyed the video. See you soon.